Hey there folks, Uncle Troy here. Today we got a little video about size and volume and how this is half a liter, but you don't really think of four of these as 2 liters. And so we're going to do a little experiment filmed in my kitchen. By the way, I promised the family that if I filmed anywhere in the house other than in front of my blue screen here, I would clean up first. So if anybody asked, the kitchen was spotless, okay? Alright, on with the video. Hey there folks, Uncle Troy here. Today we're playing a little magic trick or a metric math trick. I'm not really sure, but basically I was looking at some of my bottles the other day and I discovered these are half-liter bottles, or a little over 16 ounces for the English system, or the American version of the English system. So these are half-liter, 500 milliliters. So this here is a 2-liter bottle, which is about the only metric a lot of us Americans know, is that you buy things in a 2-liter bottle. 2 liters is about half a gallon, roughly. The 500 milliliter, half a liter, is roughly a pint. And I think every school kid in America used to know that 2 pints make a quart, 2 quarts make a half a gallon. Or 500 milliliters equals a liter. 500 and 500 equals a liter. A liter and a liter equals a 2-liter, which is a long way of saying that these 1, 2, 3, 4 little bottles equals this one big bottle. And just looking at it here in front of me, that isn't intuitively obvious, as the old saying goes. That's not apparent, because it looks like this big bottle here should be able to hold maybe 6, maybe 8 of these little bottles, because it's just such a difference. And I'm going to show you head on what these bottles look like, so you can make sure that there's not like some bottle here that's like oblong shaped or something, and I'm using some kind of trick of perspective. You can see that they're all here about the same distance from the camera. So I'm not using some kind of weird trick of perspective or something, or an oddly shaped bottle to make this experiment go crazy. But if my math is correct, these 4 little bottles add up to one big bottle. So we are going to pour these small bottles into this big bottle and see what happens. We've got some green tea here, some lemonade, some raspberry Kool-Aid, and some urine I collected this morning. So what we're going to do is we're going to put each of these in this big bottle one at a time and see how much it fills up. Let's set this aside a little bit, this right here, very carefully. Missing from this experiment is the roll of paper towels just out of camera range. I don't know about you, but now I have to pee. And we're not going to have any cuts or any edits, because we don't want to be accused of using trick photography. Alright, so that was one half-liter bottle, which now that should be 1/4 of the way full, and again it doesn't look 1/4 of the way full. So let's go on to the lemonade. Again, very carefully. Don't want to make a mess and have to clean up. Okay, so that is our second half-liter bottle. 2 of these. And so together that up to be about a liter, and I have to admit, now it looks like that's about a liter. It looks like that's a little less than half of this thing full. So, move on to the next. Carefully. And there's a whole lot of coloring in this raspberry Kool-Aid. It completely, cool raspberry I think is the flavor officially, and it completely dominates everything you put in here. Pour, pour, pour. Gurgle, gurgle. there. And before we forget, let's this is the 2-liter bottle cap. Let's leave it over there, even though I think these are all pretty much the same thing. So now after we poured 3 of those in there, 1.5 liters, now it looks like we got more than 1.5 liters in here. Alright, one last little thing here. And if we're lucky, this will fill it up to pretty much close to the top, but not overflowing, and not a lot of air left in there to show. Easy does it. Close, close, close. Almost done, and voila. Okay, so I have to admit I was skeptical. I did not think that these 4 of these little bottles equaled one big bottle. 1, 2, 3, 4. But I did it, and it all fit in there. So I guess 4.5 liters does add up to 2 liters, and in spite of the fact that it looks like these bottles to me are much, much smaller than this bottle here, they do add up properly. So, this is Uncle Troy signing out. Please have a good night. Okay, that turned out pretty well. In case anybody's interested, that was shot with my Samsung HMX F80 camera, which looks a little something like this. And recorded with the built-in microphone, which does not do as good as I think my Logitech G330 headset mic, gaming headset. Put this aside, and I think it just knocked over something breakable. I'll have to fix that here in a minute. Okay, this here, however, is being recorded with my Microsoft LiveCam Cinema HD, but not with the software. I'm actually trying some different software. If it works out, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we'll keep experimenting. So, the thing is, basically, the other day at work, I was looking at one of these, and a coworker had a 2-liter bottle, and I'm like, how much is in here? 16.9 ounces or 500 milliliters. And I'm like, well, 500 milliliters is half a liter. Half a liter, 4 of those go into 2 liters. So, but when I look at this, I do not see 1/4 of a 2-liter. It looks much smaller to me. And I actually asked several coworkers, several family members, and we all discussed it. And basically the consensus was it takes more than 4 of these to fill a 2-liter. It should take 5, 6. I went as high as 8, thinking maybe, because this looks pretty small to me compared to a 2-liter. So I think I had exactly one coworker that thought that this actually looked big enough that it would fill a 2-liter. 4 of these would fill a 2-liter, but he thought 3 of these would fill a 2-liter, not 4. So that's what encouraged me to check this out. I wanted to try it myself, to do the pouring and see if it did fill it up. And then I thought, as long as I'm doing that, I might as well put it on camera. So a little about the metric system versus the English system. I was raised on the English system until I'm thinking about 7th grade. It was sometime during the 70s when I believe I was told, we're not going to use the English system anymore. The world's going to the metric system. And by the world, they meant United States of America, because that's where we lived. So we had to learn a new system, the metric system, that uses meters for length, liters for volume, kilograms for weight, or mass technically. And so we would try to learn that in school. You go to math, there would be a math problem. You're driving 100 kilometers an hour. You drive for 2 hours. How many kilometers have you driven? And that'd be 200 kilometers. But because we still needed to know the old system, because that's, the entire country was running on the old system at the time, the English system, or the American version of the English system, the next question might be, you're driving, 55 miles an hour, you drive for 2 hours, how many miles have you driven? But there was never a case of, it's 160 miles it's 160 kilometers from here to a certain town,
how many miles is that? They never asked that because they said we would never have to translate from one system to another. We would never have to do metric to English conversions and vice versa, because they were teaching us the new system. That system was going to take over. We were all going to be metric, one big worldwide happy family, and measuring things with metrics. And of course, that didn't happen. The United States, I think, has held out longer than any other country on not switching officially to the metric system. And I think even if they did switch, if the government of the United States told all the citizens we are officially switching to the metric system, anything involving commerce will have to be done in the metric system. All government publications will be in the metric system, everything like that. I think it would still be generations before you bred the English system out of us, because it's just kind of that ingrained. On the other hand, my nephews, one of them I was asking about this, basically doesn't realize that there is a connection between the English system and the metric system. As far as he's concerned, a 2 liter is a 2 liter. A gallon, you buy soft drinks in a 2 liter or a half liter, whatever, and you buy milk in the gallon or half gallon. And as far as he's concerned, pretend I'm holding a gallon of milk here, by the way. And as far as he's concerned, those are two separate things, and you can't convert between them. So as far as he's concerned, there is no reason to know how to convert from one to the other, because they're two separate things. You measure cola in liters, you measure milk in gallons, you measure gasoline in gallons. So he doesn't need to know that a gallon's a little less than 4 liters. And so I can do math with the metric system, I can do math with the English system, and I can convert. Sometimes I have to look something up. Over the years, and this is completely outside of school, because like I said, in school they said they weren't going to teach us how to convert from one to another. So completely outside of school, I came up with a few little things. I know that a mile's about roughly 1.5, 1 6/10 kilometers. I know that a half a liter is roughly a pint. I know that a 2 liter bottle is roughly half a gallon. 4 liters is roughly a gallon. A kilogram is 2.2 pounds, or roughly 2 if you're doing very rough estimates, because most of the time that's all you need is a rough estimate. You don't need to know it's 100.27 miles from here to there. You just need to know it's 100 miles from there, or 160 kilometers, give or take, because most of the time you're not calculating things down to the the 6th decimal or whatever. And it's more important to have an intuitive grasp of it, and have just a general feeling for it, than it is to get things exactly right. So there's a story going around, and I think this is actually a true story, but the fact that it may not be true doesn't stop people from telling it, because you should never let the truth get in the way of a good story. Of a passenger airline, big airplane, jet airplane, leaving on a jet plane, don't know when I'll be coming back again. And they stopped somewhere to refuel. And the plane was from a country that used the English system, and the airport was in a country that used the metric system, or vice versa, one or the other. So basically they needed however many gallons of fuel to make to the next location, or maybe they did it in pounds, whatever. But the amount they needed was in gallons, the amount they were pumping was in liters, or perhaps it was pounds and kilograms, depending on if they were going by weight of fuel and not volume of fuel. But the point is, whoever grabbed grabbed his calculator out and started punching in numbers, and said, okay, we've got this many, we're going to use our conversion factor to pump this many gallons, or pump this many liters, however many it was. And they did the conversion backwards. So if they were going from liters to gallons, so they said they needed 1,000 gallons, which would have been 4,000 liters, but instead they did it backwards and said 1,000 gallons is 250 liters. And so they didn't put in enough gas, and basically the plane took off, realized, hey, we're too low of fuel, had to turn around and glide back. So that's why you need a intuitive grasp, which is why I'm trying to get my head around that this is a pint, and so this is half of a quart, because that doesn't look like half a quart to me either. and that 4 of these equals a 2 liter. So, if you have some conversion stories you'd like to tell, leave them in the comment section below. If you've tried some kind of perspective problem like this to see how many of these fit into this, also leave me a comment. If you have any videos, leave them as a video response to this video. And as always, this is Uncle Troy signing out, thanking you for watching, and wishing you a good night.